Amanda Clegg from Invesco, welcome to the Alternative Symposium.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
As a first question, I'd just like you to explain the approach and behind the Invesco Global Real Estate Strategy.
Sure. So we created the Global Real Estate Fund to provide wholesale investors with a turnkey solution to a globally diversified, best-in-class global real estate portfolio. It invests in over 200 assets all around the world across the key property sectors, including office, industrial, retail, residential and other. And what's common about our approach through all of these investments is we really take a good look at the secular themes driving today's modern world. So they include technology, lifestyle changes, ESG, innovation, and we really use the outcome of our thinking there to build our asset and sector allocations and the portfolio overall. Also, we very much recognise that real estate is a local asset class. So we adopt a boots on the ground approach. We have about 600 staff all around the world. They do all of the functions associated with managing an asset portfolio of that size, including sourcing, acquisitions, dispositions, managing the live assets themselves. Everything is internally managed, which allows us to have a consistent process globally and no fees on fees. And finally, we're strong believers in ESG incorporation. And the good thing about ESG in property is that it can lead to some really tangible benefits for occupiers, for investors, and also society more broadly.
And from a portfolio construction perspective, why real estate or real assets, and why now?
Yes. So the three key points here would be stability, diversification, and why now? And it offers an inflation hedge to investors. So stability and diversification is nothing new. We typically, as cliche as it sounds, our most successful long-term institutional investors in the US really focus much more on their strategic allocation to high-quality property rather than trying to time the market, given the stability and diversification benefits it provides. And then inflation hedge, that's obviously there's a lot of focus on that. Inflation concerns, particularly in the US, driven by a number of factors. There is a correlation of direct property with inflation, and that actually strengthens in higher inflationary periods. And so this fund can offer investors with the ability to invest in something that's linked to inflation.
And what are the drivers of that inflation protection?
So it really there's a lot of different facets behind it. But one of the main things is property's ability to adjust to inflation quickly through the rent structures. So then that means that we find that the sectors which have adjust their rent structures more frequently have the highest correlation to inflation. So that means the residential sector, given that leases are typically 1-year leases, that sector in the US, which is the most mature developed market, that's where we have the best data, that is the most highly correlated sector to inflation.
What are some of the major themes you're seeing in global real estate?
Well, I think we'd point to the secular trends around, technology, innovation, ageing demographics, increased need for medical interventions, and ESG. They would probably be the strongest themes, and we really focus on those because nothing drives demand in real estate more than secular change, more than, say, economic growth or interest rate changes or what have you. And so, yeah, that's a huge focus for us.
And can you provide an example of a property that the fund holds?
Yeah, sure. So one of my favourite properties would be the shops at Cristal's in Vegas. So that's in our retail portfolio. We do, just to quickly note, we do certainly recognise that the retail sector does face headwinds, and we've been reducing our allocation to retail, but we also recognise that not all retail is created equally, and we focus on where people either need to shop or where people want to shop. So the shops at Crystals would be a great example of this more experiential type of real estate. It's a luxury-only shopping destination with all the brands you could ever dream of if you like luxury brands, including Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, etc., etc. Interestingly, the sales for those companies have in that shopping centre have increased over the COVID period. And so because of the way that our lease terms are structured, our investors have been able to benefit from that.
Amanda Clegg, thank you.
Thank you very much.